Administration's 25% tariff on imported vehicles and auto parts from Canada and Mexico is set to take effect next week. Some drivers may want to get a jump on a new car purchased in hopes of beating the effective tariffs, while others might plan to hold on to their cars longer to see if things calm down. Let's learn more about the expected effect of these tariffs by turning to Stephanie Brindley, automotive analyst at S&P Global Mobility. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me on.
What impact do you expect to see? It's not a clear-cut, easy increase, is it?
No, and I think that's a really important point for consumers. It's not a clear-cut increase. It will affect different vehicles in different ways, and we also have some inventory on the ground, so you might not see it happen right away. What I think we will see happen relatively quickly, if the 25% on non-compliant USMCA vehicles comes into play, is for when you'll see incentives go away. Or get drastically reduced, because automakers will not necessarily need to have an incentive on a vehicle that's already imported that isn't part of the tariff. You generally use incentives to kind of get people in the door, but you know that they're going to be more expensive in 2 months or 3 months. So the tariffs or the incentives kind of slip away. And once we start getting this through the whole supply chain, and we start getting it through the system, and depending on what other tariffs are implemented as well, the cost of production comes up, the cost of parts going back and forth across the border comes up. It will be a specific price for a specific vehicle. And I think for consumers, one of the important things is when you look at the Monroney sticker on the vehicle as you go into the dealership, you're not going to see a line item that says this car is 10% more expensive or 15 or 25% more expensive than it was. It's going to be very difficult for consumers to suss out the difference between change in content and change in tariff and change in availability. So I think it's going to be a little bit difficult to see that.
Bloomberg is reporting that cars will go up on average possibly by $12,000. That's a deal breaker for many people.
That is a deal breaker for many people, and I'm not going to speak to their number.
Yeah.
We have not put out an average ourselves. I think an average is a little bit difficult to work through, given different content on vehicles. Given different content means that they have different parts coming in, so different parts are tariffed at different levels, or what's the components are, where it's built, all of these things. So the initial price, but yes, $12,000 would be a deal breaker for a lot of people. Half of that would be a deal breaker for a lot of people. Yeah. So you're going to see U.S. light vehicle sales come down if we have this kind of a price increase, and certainly in the short term. Longer term, in a few years, maybe it settles down, but it's going to be a problem, I think, to have that kind of a jump. And we probably are talking, more than $1,000. It's not going to be a simple jump. Yeah. And automakers are going to work with suppliers and try and figure out how to mitigate it as much as possible. But 25% is too much to mitigate.
Let's talk about the used car market. Those buyers aren't safe either, right?
No, well, they are not, because that inventory becomes more valuable because it doesn't have a tariff, because it's already here. And without getting into the numbers, the used car market is already fairly tight. We looked at, we're in 2025, and 2020 sales were down. What feeds the used car market is cars that are 3 to 5 years old. Yeah. So vehicle sales being down 3 or 4 years ago means there's fewer of used cars vehicles available. So they're holding their value a little bit anyway. You factor this in, and they'll hold the value a little bit stronger.
Well, I've got about 170,000 miles on my car, Stephanie, and I'm planning to hold on to it for a number of reasons. Stephanie Brindley, S&P Global Mobility, I appreciate your time and expertise this morning.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Download Fox Local for more videos on demand.